Hello and welcome to Budweiser Gardens for yet another National Basketball League of Canada game. Today, the London Lightning take on the Brampton A's. Good afternoon. My name is Marty Thompson. I'm joined, as always, by Chris Croucher. Chris, London coming into this game without Emmanuel Little and Jonathan Mills.
Well, in the last game against the Mississauga Power, there was a bit of a scuffle there. And because of that, Jonathan Mills and Emmanuel Little will be sitting out. Mills got 4 games, and Little received games as suspensions. And what this does for the London Lightning is it causes them to have a real lack of depth in their front court. Right now, Lazare and Phillips are the only guys on this roster who can legitimately play the 4 and the 5 position. They're going to have to ask much shorter guys like Brent Jennings and Clinton Springer-Williams, both at 6'4" each, and maybe even new addition Christian Kabongo, to play that 4 spot. And that's going to be very difficult for them because there's only 4 of them trying to play a spot where they're outmatched.
Christian Kabongo just got activated a couple days ago, 6'4", 200 pounds. Chris, tell us a little bit about him.
Well, he's a 6'4" guard back when he was in college at New Mexico State. He's a Canadian player. He's from Montreal. He actually has no relation. There's some Canadian basketball fans out there who might be wondering. He does not have any relation to Mick Kabongo, who's played for the national team. But Christian's a very good player. He came out early for the NBA draft, didn't go his way. But he played for the Idaho Stampede. He played alongside Lazare, actually, for that team. And even though he only played 8 games, he averaged double-digit points per game during that time.
You mentioned Brent Jennings as a guy that might be able to come into this London Lightning squad and sort of play a bigger presence. Zane Johnson famously traded from London to Brampton for Brent Jennings, and this is the return of Zane Johnson to London.
Well, it could be one of the bigger trades we've seen, definitely the biggest this year alone. Zane Johnson for Brent Jennings is a good trade. It works for both teams, but this is where we get to see, one-on-one. You get to get a real look at who might be the better player.
All right, we're going to get the starting lineups for the Brampton A's coming up. All right, so the starting lineup for the Brampton A's, you've got Akeem Scott, Bryson Johnson, Kyle Johnson, Thomas Granado, and then finally Cavell Johnson. 3 Johnsons starting for Brampton, and I guess the big one here is for Granado. He's a bigger guy, 6'10".
Well, he's one of the newer additions to this team, and he's played very well so far. He had 14 points in the Brampton A's last game. But it's his size that could be a big difference maker here. At 6'10", 260 pounds, he's a big load, and we've seen the Lightning have troubles with guys like DeAndre Thomas in the past. And now it's an even bigger issue considering Mills was usually the bulky guy who would use his strength down low. Lazare's 6'8", but he's a bit lankier. So now height-wise, Phillips and Lazare are the only guys who can really match up-wise. In terms of actual mass, Phillips is the only guy who might be able to hold him off. Usually you would have Mills in that spot. So now what Granado opens up is Cavell Johnson to do a lot of things, because Cavell, being the longer, lankier player, he's not going to get beat up as much. He gets to take a breather and really play his game, and he opens up so much for this Brampton A's team that anytime you're talking about a more relaxed and dangerous Cavell Johnson, the London Lightning got to be shaking in their boots a little bit here just because of their lack of depth after that suspension.
And then switching to the backcourt, Akeem Scott back off of the IR after he got bronchitis. Good news there. Another guy who's back, he's on the bench today, Richard Amarty. Team put him on an indefinite suspension after he kicked the ball into the stands here at Budweiser Gardens the last time Brampton was here. We're going to get the starting lineups coming up for London shortly. But let's talk a little bit about Amarty. Could be Canadian Player of the Year as well.
Well, Amarty, before he had his the punt heard round the league, was having a great season. He looked like the best Canadian player. He was leading all Canadians in points per game with around 15. And he's shooting the lights out, and absolutely out of this world, 48% shooting from behind the three-point line. That's amazing. You don't see that very often. He was having a great year. Unfortunately, things aren't going his way, but this is a guy who's dangerous. He can be a little inconsistent. For example, at the very start of the year, he had 34 points against the Lightning, and then the very next game put up 2 points against the Power. So he's a guy you never really know when he's going to blow up, but when he blows up, he puts a ton of points on the board. And again, that three-point shooting can make him dangerous any game. And he spaces the floor out. We're talking about Granado and Johnson getting more room to work down low. They've really been meticulous in putting this lineup together since they had that rough start, and it really shows with the A's record how they've come from a team that was struggling immensely at the start of the year. Now they've got an above 500 record. And again, when you're playing from behind the and you can get above 500 and look like one of the most dangerous teams in the conference. London's got a real test here tonight.
Brampton gets started the season 0-5. They're on a 3-game win streak, had 10 days off before this game. All right, starting lineup coming up here for the London Lightning. All right, so the starting lineup for the London Lightning, you've got Lazar, Stewart, Hart, Phillips, and Emmanuel Little. We're just going to assume that his suspension isn't in effect yet. We believed that it was. We apologize for that. But Emmanuel Little in the starting squad here for London. Definitely good. Good to have such a good scorer there, right?
The reason I can think of is that maybe the Lightning were undermanned because of losing Mills, and they were already undermanned to begin with, so the league might have given them a pass on the Little suspension in order to put a full roster out there, but definitely surprising. Little does add an element to this game that this team needs because big guys, and Little at 6'5", he can do that. He can play that 4 spot in their smaller lineup, so he gives them a better shot here.
So Brampton versus London. So again, Emmanuel Little back. He wasn't even gone. We're not quite sure if Jonathan Mills will be playing today's game. Again, both those players suspended from an altercation last game at home against Mississauga. It does look like Mills has some pants on right now, so it doesn't look like he's going to play today. But again, to have Emmanuel Little back here, ready to go off the suspension, incredible.
I was going to say, it looks like Mills actually has his gear on. So there's a chance we might see Mills too.
London in white, Brampton in red here at Budweiser Gardens. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth here with you today. Jonathan Mills is in the starting lineup. We just got word out of that. So, my apologies, in the lineup, not the starting lineup. London versus Brampton could be a possible playoff matchup. You've got Windsor above London and Mississauga well below Brampton. So these two teams could very likely meet in the first round of the playoffs, and they're meeting here at Budweiser Gardens. And we are underway as we see Al Stewart taking possession off to John Hart, and London with the first offensive play of the day. Stewart keeps possession, 10 seconds of the shot clock.
John Hart got himself really open there. Great recovery there by, I believe, Scott to actually make up that distance.
Emmanuel Little for 3, and it's no good. Tipped around and collected here by Brampton. And there's Scott. Keeps possession. Again, 3 Johnsons on the court at once. I've received specific instructions to say their first names exclusively, but I will include their last names, as we see Cavell Johnson taking it up for 2.
Great play there by Cavell. And a lot of what Brampton does will run through Cavell. He's a force on the inside, offensively and defensively.
Lazar takes it up for another 2 points.
Impressive play there by Lazar. Again, that is the reigning defensive player of the year that Lazar just schooled a bit on that play.
Kyle Johnson into Bryson Johnson. Now back to Kyle Johnson. Takes it up and it rolls out. Now collected here by Al Stewart. Marvin Phillips for three. No good. 30 on the clock. Scott takes it down as you see Granado with it. Keeps possession. Can't put it up. There's Kyle Johnson. And taken here by John Hart. Hart off to Stewart. And they're going to call a foul there.
Not sure I like that call. Scott looked like he had his arms just straight up, was standing straight. And I think Scott agrees with me there as he's making his case to the ref.
So Stewart goes to the line here. 2 shots. 10-14 on the clock in the first. And the referees blow that down. And they have a chance to talk it over. So the suspensions, we just, our apologies, we hadn't heard before. The suspensions are under appeal right now. So the suspensions obviously to Mills and also to Emmanuel Little. So sorry about that. So they are under appeal. And I guess after that process, then we'll figure out if they're taken away or if they stay the same or what have you. So for right now, obviously with it being appealed, we're still good to go, still good to play today. So Al Stewart misses that shot. 10-14 on the clock. Game's tied at 2. Certainly changes the dynamic of the game. I know before we were talking about what would London do without Little and also Mills. I mean, you'd almost have to appeal because those are just 2 huge impact players for this London Lightning team.
It's a risk, though, in the fact that you have to make sure the appeal gets dealt with before those suspensions could run into the end of the season. And we've seen things decided in this league rather slowly in the past.
Little takes it up, can't drain, and the ball falls out of play. Brampton will get it back. 3-2, London with the lead. Marty Thompson, Chris Croucher up in the booth. Hakeem Scott moves it up. Up against Stewart. Off to Bryson Johnson, now to Cavell Johnson. Bryson takes it back, can't drain it. So Emmanuel Little takes up the floor. To John Hart for 3. Shorts, tipped up and collected here by Bryson Johnson. And off to Kyle Johnson, and there's a foul. And trip to the line here for 2 for Brampton. Chance to take the lead here early, 9:22 left in the first quarter.
I like Hart trying to draw the charge on that play there. He was making a smart move. He just couldn't get those feet down in time. But it's the right idea. He was in a 2-on-1 situation.
First shot's good there from Kyle Johnson. Four to 3, Brampton have the lead. Stewart moves it up for London. And Brampton coming off a 10-day break. Talked a bit about, you got Zane Johnson in the lineup still. Maybe more time for him to gel as you see Lazar putting that one in. Eventually, Al Stewart getting to it.
It's surprising how many rebounds Al Stewart gets like that, considering he's 5'10", but he's just such a smart point guard that he knows exactly what time to go and get those rebounds.
So it's a kick ball, and Brampton being set on the inbound. 16 seconds on the shot clock here. Cavell Johnson with it. Off to Hakeem Scott. And Scott off the IR with bronchitis. You see Cavell Johnson throwing that one down. Make it 6-5. Brampton have a 1-point lead. Stewart chips it back to Marvin Phillips. Cuts underneath, and it's tipped up. Refs are going to call a foul. 8.5 left in the first quarter. Score is 6-5. Brampton with the 1-point lead here at Budweiser Gardens. Brampton with a 3-game win streak heading into that lengthy break. Again, 10 days they've had off. Just gives more players time to gel. He's got Zane Johnson coming into the roster. We've also got players like Akeem Scott, who were on the IR and now taking a nice pass off to Cavell Johnson, who misses that. Emmanuel Little collects and off to Al Stewart, who forgets the ball, and he gets it. 8:10 on the clock. Hart. Off to Lazar. Misses. Cavell Johnson mishandles the rebound.
Lazar is certainly not gun shy so far in this game. It's been rather quiet for some of the guys we're used to hearing from for the Lightning. Phillips has only taken one shot, and same with Hart.
Hart keeps it, and they're going to call a foul. Looks like it's going to go against John Hart. So now under 8 minutes to go in the first. Brampton with a 6-5 lead. As always, we'll try to keep you updated on the other games happening today. You've got the Island Storm taking on Moncton. The Storm have a 60-58 lead there. And it looks like that's just heading into the third quarter right now. Meantime, the other game we're looking at, Halifax and St. John tied at 54 apiece. And just in the third quarter there as well. Hart misses.
Not wild about that shot there. Marvin had a little bit more time on the clock, and instead he took a contested three-pointer there.
Scott keeps possession, chips it in, and Granado with a slam.
Beautiful pass from Scott there, finding Granado cutting. That was perfect.
Phillips to John Hart. Now back to Phillips. Up against Granado. Tipped out there by Johnson. And right into the two London Lightning players who will be coming into this game. Looks like that will be Kabongo. Oh, my apologies. That is Jennings and Horton that are coming in, replacing John Hart and Al Stewart. As Jennings keeps it to Horton. Gets it off in time, but it's no good. It was a 24-second violation, so we're coming back here. Brampton with possession. They've got a 3-point lead here, just about halfway through this first quarter. Meanwhile, Zane Johnson comes into the game and replaces Bryson Johnson and gets a warm reception from the crowd here at Budweiser Gardens.
Again, Zane has a lot of memories here with the Lightning fans, including his fantastic playoffs last year against these Brampton A's.
Granado takes it up. It's good. So Tom Granado off to a great start here for Brampton. His A's are up by 5. It was 6.5 left to go in the first. St. Johnson off to Scott. Now into the corner. This would be Kyle Johnson from distance, and it's good. That's a 3-pointer.
London might want to start thinking about calling a timeout. Score sitting at 13-5 right now. Definitely want to slow down this Brampton offense. Stop them before they get hot. Hard foul there.
So Marvin Phillips will go to the line. Again, 13-5. We're just about to hit the halfway point in this first quarter here at Budweiser Gardens. Melvin Council coming in here for Brampton. Akeem Scott coming out. So Marvin Phillips at the line here for 2. Phillips cutting into that lead a little bit. 13-6 now. 6:05 on the clock. Make it 13-7. This is Council. So off to the corner here, this is Kyle Johnson. Now to Zane Johnson. Now to Cavell Johnson. Nice shot here from Kyle Johnson. It's good.
friendly roll there. Sliced open that zone defense. Find that mid-range jumper. That was beautiful.
Brampton shooting about 50% so far in this game. Phillips on the fade, misses it. Emmanuel Little with a big offensive rebound, second in the league in rebounds behind Marvin Phillips. So that's a nice looking three there from Brent Jennings.
Jennings not really known for his three-point shot, but he can kind of sneak up on you and get what I like to call those pesky threes there.
Zane Johnson, he can shoot threes. Up to Granado. Council, now back to Johnson. Chips it up to Granado. Oh, circus shot. No good. Cavell Johnson takes it. Tosses it up. Granado with another offensive rebound. Another 2 points.
You see the havoc that a guy the size of Granado can cause down low. Jonathan Mills tried to take a charge and fell over, and Granado was just left with too much space.
Jennings contested three-pointer, and it will fall out. And here come Brampton. Kyle Johnson, he's got 7 points already. Oof. More good stuff here. 19-10. Brampton with the lead. 4.5 left to go in the first quarter. Little to Mills. Can't toss it down, and that's a foul.
You know, every so often, Mills can get blinders going to the rim, and I think that was one of those times. If he had looked back and kicked out to Horton there, that would have been an easy three-point shot, but I still like the aggressiveness of Mills. Trying to get something going here. They're not playing terribly. It's 19-10, but a lot of the shots that the A's are getting are really just well-designed plays, so London's going to have to come into this timeout and make some adjustments to get ready for those.
Granado, 6 points, 2 rebounds. He's really out-muscling this London Lightning team. I mean, do you throw Mills out there, maybe try to contest with him a little bit? I mean, how do you counter him?
Well, it's a bit of what they've tried to do here, and we saw Mills earlier. Granado's only really got one basket since Mills has been in there, and only 2 shots, and one of them was a behind-the-back heave that I don't think had any chance of going in. But that's why you bring a guy like Mills in. He can be that physical banger there, and it frees Marvin Phillips up, because Phillips is the guy you want on Cavell. It'll be interesting to see how they use Lazar here. He looked pretty effective against Cavell early in this game. It'd be nice to see them maybe give him a couple more looks there. I'd like to see what he's capable of.
Just over 4 minutes left to go in this first quarter. Marty Thompson, Chris Croucher up in the booth, as always. London Lightning 12-8, looking to get a little bit closer to the Windsor Express, who sit atop the Central Division. Meanwhile, Brampton sitting comfortably in third place, 11-10. Again, after they started the season so woefully, they've done pretty well for themselves. I believe they've gone 7 for 3 in their last 10, looking very, very good for the Brampton A's. They've got the lead, looking for their 4th straight win and their first at Budweiser Gardens all year. So Zane Johnson getting set. My apologies. The London Lightning looking to get set to take this. 19-10, 4:26 on the clock. So Jonathan Mills takes a shot at the line. Again, in case you missed it, those suspensions from the Mississauga game, those have been appealed. So Mills allowed to play along with Emmanuel Little for today's game. Mills makes good, 19-12. Brampton have the lead, they have the ball. Zane Johnson with it. Finds Whitfield with it. In the corner, Zane Johnson can't get to it. Horton. Gets the ball back from Phillips. Emmanuel Little.
He's got Horton.
5 seconds of the shot clock. Ooh, finds Marvin Phillips. No, my apologies, that was Jennings.
Jennings maybe wanting to show Brampton what they're missing out on. He was tearing it up for the A's before coming to London. He didn't have such a hot start in his first game as a member of the Lightning. Maybe he can get it going tonight.
Whitfield misses. Jennings off to Little. Marvin Phillips for three. It's no good. Zane Johnson. Whitfield back to Johnson. 4-3, and that one's good. Make it 22-14. 3 minutes to go in the first. Jennings takes it, puts it back.
A little back and forth from the two guys traded for each other there.
Council. Whitfield. This is Council down low. He drains it. 2:38 on the clock. Emmanuel Little. Ooh, finished by Marvin Phillips.
Great catch by Phillips to get that rebound. I think it was Cavell. Just about touched the ceiling trying to block it. Didn't work though.
Darnell Lazar comes in. Marvin Phillips comes out. And London keep possession here. Horton moves up the court. 3 steals in his last game. And 3 assists as well. Lazar off to Little. Spins, takes it up. Oh, that's a foul.
Hard foul there by Whitfield too.
Well, Brampton don't have any starters on the court right now. They've got Ellis, Johnson, Council, Amarty, and Whitfield. Looks like Clinton Springer Williams is preparing to come on here for London. So
kind of a weird stat so far in this game. Usually you don't see the Brampton A's shooting less three-pointers than the other team, but London's already attempted 7, only made 1.
(24-19), 2:14 on the clock. Emmanuel Little misses that second shot. Amarty from distance. Oh, good. Jennings with it for London. Ooh, that's blocked. And you see Jonathan Mills just slamming that ball off of a Brampton player.
Quite the throw. That thing kicked back into the crowd pretty hard.
So Clinton Springer Williams comes into the game, replaces Emmanuel Little. So London inbounding the ball, 16 seconds on the shot clock.
I know Coach is pretty happy about Clinton Springer Williams in that game. He'll talk all about it at half, but that was one of the things he predicted, that Springer Williams might have a big game here.
Ed Orton, another guy that Mr. Bill Evans is big on. He drains a 3, make it 24-22. Brampton have the lead. Johnson on the fade. Zane Johnson good for 2.
Zay Johnson's so hard to defend because that shot, he gets it off at such a high release point, and being 6'6", he's taller than most of the shooting guards in this league. It makes it so difficult for anyone to stop that shot.
One of the defensive matchups that we wanted to highlight would be Springer Williams and Johnson, and we just see Johnson just destroy Springer Williams on that play. But hopefully for the Londoner, that can change heading into the second quarter.
Well, Springer Williams played that about as well as he could, just Johnson's shot was a little bit better. That had more to do with the shot Johnson was taking than Springer Williams' D, though. It was very good defense.
1 minute and 5 seconds to go. Whitfield off to Amarty. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Amarty tosses up a prayer, and it drops down. I'm going to say a kick ball.
Can we blame that one on Rust? That shot there? That was a little closer to Brampton than London with that shot.
14 seconds on the shot clock. Brampton get it back. 53 seconds on the game clock. Counts on the inbound to Amarty for 3. Misses it, and a foul. That one's going to go against Lazar.
Yeah, they're going to give it to Lazar for pushing Whitfield, trying to get that rebound.
So 4 fouls each, and we do it again. Counts on the inbound. 24 seconds on the shot clock. 50 seconds on the game clock. Zane Johnson for three. No. Taken here by Mills and off to Horton. Scott Lazar in front of him. Chips it into Clinton Springer-Williams. And now to Mills. Spins. Blocked! And that's a Marty on the block.
They're going to say a goaltend there, but Marty just about hit his head on the rim there. Lucky he didn't crack his skull jumping that high.
Richard Amarty back from suspension and already making an impact here for Brampton. 18 seconds on the shot clock, 23 seconds on the game clock, and you see Jennings. It's the ball out of Zane Johnson, and some words are exchanged there by the looks of it. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Council works the baseline and tipped out there by Horton, and it'll fall out off of London again.
You know, this is kind of a weird thing to notice, but Brampton's kind of passing the ball a little softly. A lot of these passes, I'm seeing Brampton players who could have been open for a shot, but the ball just sort of almost floats into their hands. You got to give a good, hard, crisp pass to make sure you can take advantage of any opening you get.
Whitfield on the move, and they're going to call an offensive foul.
Mills has been trying to get guys like that almost all year. If you're a Brampton player, you got to know that if you're going to try and get physical in the post, there's a chance that Mills will just take the chair out from under you.
So Lightning with possession, 10 seconds on the clock. Shot clock has expired, obviously. Jennings takes it up, 2 seconds to go, and there it is. So London tie it up at the last possible moment here in the first quarter, 26-26. Brampton and London tied here at Budweiser Gardens. Marty Thompson, Chris Croucher in the booth. Chris, your thoughts on that first quarter?
Well, Brent Jennings really wants to stick it to his former team there. He's really being assertive with the ball. And a lot of the tentativeness that we saw in that Mississauga game, it looked like he was still trying to sort of fit in with the offense, figure out what to do within Coach Knox's system. Today, he really seems like he gets it. And plus, he knows these guys. He's played against these guys. He's practiced against the A's back when he was a member of the A's. So he knows what he can do to try and get buckets on these guys. He knows what matchups he can take advantage of, and he's done an excellent job of that here today. The other thing I'm noticing is from the Brampton A's, Kyle Johnson, we haven't seen too much of him, but he's 3 for 4, and I haven't really seen any plays designed for him. A lot of the plays have been a lot of his baskets have been almost circumstantial. He just happens to get the ball at the right time. I'd start drawing some plays for him if it were me. He looks like he's hot. And he's really being, not necessarily tentative, but he's only shot 4 shots. If I was shooting as hot as him, I'd be trying to take a lot more than that. So he's really been restrained as well as strong in his shooting.
Well, and you mentioned at the start that there was a lot of pre-designed plays, and that's how Brampton got to that early lead. I guess talk a little bit about those plays and what you really meant by that, I guess.
Well, a lot of the things that Brampton's doing, they constantly are making adjustments. And what I was saying earlier is that they recognized the zone, and they just made a ton of passes and opened up a little pocket right on the top of the right corner of the key. And every time the Lightning went into that zone, they started to do that.
26-26, and the game tied here between London and Brampton.
One of the things Coach Bill just gave me here, he's watched a lot of Zane Johnson, so I would trust this as gospel almost. When Zane shifts to his left foot, an absolutely deadly shooter, one of the best shooters we see in this league. But one of the things that Coach Bill has noticed is that when Zane shifts to his right foot, when he's getting ready to take that shot, and does he come off his right foot, his shot's much less accurate. So as you're watching this game, keep an eye on Zane Johnson, which foot he's coming off of when he does that shot. Again, if it's off his left foot, it's almost guaranteed money. But if it's off that right foot, more likely to bankrupt.
More stuff to look out for here in the second quarter. London and Brampton tied at 26 apiece. London in white, Brampton in all red. Brampton had a pretty big lead. Pretty big lead in the first quarter, but London chipped away. And now we're all tied up. Bryson Johnson on the inbound here for Brampton. He's got Akeem Scott in front of him. starters are back on the court here for Brampton. Granado to Cavell Johnson. Up against Lazar. That's quite the matchup there as well. So you get shift all the way around. This is Kyle Johnson for three. It's no good. Mills with a big rebound.
I think the curse of me giving a player props continues there.
Clinton Springer-Williams with a great play at the rim. So make it 28-26. London take the lead here to start the second quarter. Scott to Granado. Spins. Ooh.
This
Smooth.
Scott-Granado combo has been excellent in this game. Scott with another picturesque pass. And Granado with a nice spin to get the bucket.
Springer-Williams. Distance shot from Ed Horton is good.
Horton, a gifted three-point shooter. Shot 40% his senior year at Murray State. He really knows how to score from the three-point line.
Kyle Johnson. Akeem Scott. Got Granado right in front of him. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Scott fires. Misses.
You could tell when he went up on that shot, he slipped when he was trying to plant for the jump.
Bounce pass in here to Jennings. Now out to Clinton Springer-Williams. He's the hot hand. It won't go. Granado on the rebound. Akeem Scott. Bryson Johnson. Granado. This is Kyle Johnson, and they're going to call a foul against Jennings. Kyle Johnson will go to the line here for two. Emmanuel Little coming into the game and replaces Jennings. Marvin Phillips coming in, and he'll replace Mills. So Kyle Johnson at the line for two. Make that 10 points for Johnson so far. 10 points in just under 10 minutes of work. Here we got 10 minutes and 16 seconds to go in the second. Lazar off to Little. London still up by one. They have possession. No, they don't. Granado. Off to Kyle Johnson. And another foul. Oh, it's traveling. Traveling call.
Yeah, they're going to say he has feet going a little too quickly there. Unfortunate luck for the A's.
Horton back to Little. Start this London attack. Off to Springer-Williams. Now to Phillips. Emmanuel Little takes it up for two.
Great play by Emmanuel Little. Bit of a quiet start for him. 0-4 shooting before that shot. That'll give him 3 points on the night. Day. I forget it's an afternoon game.
Bryson Johnson to Kyle Johnson. Oh, dispossessed. Great move there by Ed Horton. Another steal for him. He chips it off to Springer-Williams. All the way back to Lazar, and London set up their offense. 9:18 on the clock. 9 seconds of the shot clock. Marvin Phillips down low. Good.
Great little pass there by Little, finding Phillips down low. Granado had no chance of recovery there, although he tried.
Scott. Under 9 minutes to go. Cavell Johnson with the slam.
Heavy dunk by Cavell Johnson. He just shook, I believe, Marvin Phillips there to get that dunk. So far, the passing of Brampton giving London some fits, but London's responding with way more baskets of their own.
Marvin Phillips. This is Lazar. Spins. Ooh, it just rolls for him. I think it was the spin he put on the ball. It just somehow went all the way around the rim. So 32-37, London with the lead. Kyle Johnson to Cavell Johnson. It's no good from Brampton. Oh, nice rebound by Kyle Johnson.
Kyle Johnson with just beautiful theft there. Two London players fighting over the same ball. You almost got to apply volleyball rules there and call it when you've got that much of an advantage on the rebound.
Little. Springer-Williams. Lazar gets the ball back and swatted out by Cavell Johnson. Very similar play from the last one.
I saw Horton look for that pass before he moved it out. Cavell was watching that like a hawk the entire time.
Akeem Scott with the nice steal. Oh, and we see Cavell Johnson taking that. Again, Brampton trying to just throw the ball at London Lightning players. So that's going to be a foul. And it looks like it's going to go against Brampton.
Again, in terms of who the hot hand is on Brampton, Kyle Johnson was wide open from the three-point line, and he didn't get the ball until he was well covered. Far too late.
Akeem Scott getting ready to inbound the ball here for Brampton. Granado right in front of him. Cavell Johnson shows and gets possession. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Scott takes it back to Granado. Concordia University alumni. Cavell Johnson from distance, and it rattles out. Granado can't put it back, but there's a foul. Granado will go to the line.
Lightning have to be a little scared that we're seeing good Granado here. During his time with the Brampton A's, it's been a little inconsistent. He's got 4 games above double digits, but then the other 4 games hasn't really been noticeable. Other 6 games hasn't really been noticeable. Never even going above 4 points when he doesn't hit the double digits. We've already seen plenty of points from Granado tonight, as he's already looking at a game with 8 points, make it 9.
See Enrico Di Loretto coming in here for London as well. So he gets his first action of the day. Granado misses that shot. It's Kyle Johnson. Edmondson with it. Granado. 8 seconds of the shot clock. Edmondson again. Cavell Johnson for 3. Close, but no cigar. Stewart. Back to John Hart. Oh, misses the pass to Mills. Mills battles, gets it back on the baseline. No! And Akeem Scott picks it up for Brampton.
It's tough seeing all that hard work go to waste there. So see a slip and a steal by Little.
So Brampton making 2 changes. Looks like we're going to see Smith and Marty coming in, and Cavell Johnson and Scott coming out. Enrico Di Loretto does come in here as well. So 6.5 left in this second quarter. As always at halftime, we'll have What's Cooking with Bill Evans. We'll have lots to say about this London Lightning team and their performance. Al Stewart with a good 2 points.
Great transition bucket there. The speed of Hart and Stewart giving fits there. Only one guy back. I believe it was a Marty. Didn't have much he could do there.
Kyle Johnson fouled. So London racking up the fouls. 4 for them this quarter. Brampton was 0. Zane Johnson coming in for Kyle Johnson. Smith and Granado. Ooh, nice shot. So Tom Granado makes it 39-36. Brampton still down. London with possession. Marvin Phillips puts it up. No good. Collected here by Brampton. Smith finds Granado. Blocked by Marvin Phillips.
Huge swap by Phillips. Great instincts. Still got dish it here.
John Hart for 3. Rolls out. Big offensive rebound by Mills. No good. And they're going to call a foul. It's going to be against Granado. So Brampton with their first foul of the game. Not quite sure. I didn't see anything there. Regardless, 39-36. Lightning with the lead here just past halfway in the second quarter.
Unsure of what that foul was there, but okay then. It's been a surprisingly even game between these two teams. Both are shooting over 40% right now. London 45%, the A's 43%. Their three-point shooting, well, they're both cold. Rebounds are 21-19 for the A's. Almost everything's equal across the board. Not even the smaller categories such as points in the paint. That one's only 24-22 for London. We have seen London develop more points off of turnovers. They've had only one more turnover on the Brampton A's. It's been 6-5 for turnovers. However, London's turned those turnovers into 8 points compared to Brampton's 2. Right now we're seeing two very good teams playing some very good basketball. And you see the coaching come out in this game because both teams have done an excellent job of playing to their strengths and forcing the other team to try and stop them. And it's kind of weird in that no one really has an answer for either team.
Trying to take a look here at the other games across the league as we see Moncton and the Island Storm tied at 88 apiece, 9:49 on the clock there in the fourth. Meantime, the Halifax Rainmen have a 77-73 lead over the Mill Rats. Just over 3 minutes to go in the third there. St. John coming off of a 5-game win streak into this game. 39-36. London with the lead here. Just under 6 minutes to go in this quarter. So London get possession, 4 fouls for the Lightning. Just 1 for the Brampton A's so far this quarter. Hart on the inbound to DiLoretto. Now to Stewart. Fires it across. That's to John Hart.
Beautiful play there. Hart used 2 screens to get a shot. Absolutely brilliant.
Smith. Tipped there by Mills. Off to Hart. Chips it up to Mills. And he drains it.
Mills just an absolute bulldog down low. If he gets the ball anywhere under the rim, he's probably going to score.
John Hart with the interception. Oh.
Beauty dunk, gets the crowd on their feet. John Hart, he's really starting to come alive in this quarter.
Smith takes it back for Brampton. Foul. That's going to go against London. See Smith going to ground hard. Looks like it's going to go against Jonathan Mills. So London now up to 5 fouls in the quarter. So Ashton Smith at the line here for Brampton. They're down 46-36. Smith out of Scarborough, one of the Canadians on this Brampton A's roster. Drains it. 46-37. Mills up to Marvin Phillips. Sneaky pass. Phillips on the fade.
Usually don't see that kind of a mid-range game for Marvin Phillips. Excellent play.
Brampton coming all the way back, and they're going to call a foul against Smith there for Brampton by the looks of it. So Brampton's second foul of the quarter and Smith's first. As Brent Jennings comes back in for London, plays as Jonathan Mills. .428 left in the second. Stewart to Hart. Phillips with it. Keeps possession, backs in. Can't get the hook to go.
As soon as he got, I believe, Whitfield off his feet, he should have gone back up with the ball, try and draw the foul. One of the things I'm starting to see from the London Lightning, though, is John Hart. He's a faster player than Zane Johnson. We've seen a couple plays now. Zane's been able to catch up on a couple of them, but Hart really does have that speed advantage, and London's trying to take advantage of it.
Smith. Off to Zane Johnson, tries to pass it, it's no good. Tipped and Zane Johnson collects. Johnson with the long pass to Amarty, and he can't get it to go, but he'll take a trip to the line. And Rico Di Loretto trying to play some defense there.
You know, a couple plays there where we saw two teams trying to be a little bit too fancy. Zane Johnson knows better than to make that pass. However, Brent Jennings, at that point, they didn't even have numbers. I know they're trying to do transition, but you were outmanned and you were trying to force it up to a guy who would have been on a 2-on-3. You might as well hold on to the ball, set up, get something better going.
3 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock in the second. Amarty can't get the first one to go. Still a 10-point lead here for London. Phillips. 10 seconds of the shot clock. Oh, wow. Can't get it to go. Phillips so close. You see it come all the way back. Phillips still has it.
He wants it.
Can't get it to go again. St. Johnson steps over Marvin Phillips and gets Brampton's attack underway. And Marty gets called for traveling.
Marty usually pretty good with his feet, but he ends up taking a few too many steps there.
Marty known to the refs, let's just say that, is obviously for the physical play. And we mentioned before, his last game was last month when he was given a technical, taken out of the game after he kicked the ball into the stands, put onto indefinite suspension by the team, as we see John Hart draining too.
This is the last thing the Brampton A's want to see, is John Hart catching fire. We've seen him put up some absolutely fantastic games in the past, including a game of 36 points scored against the Windsor Express. He put up 22 in a previous game against the A's, as well as 25, which is his highest of the new year.
A missed shot there from distance from Brampton. Stewart takes it to the hoop. It goes.
Al Stewart just so solid, and there's no better way to describe him. He hasn't exactly standout skill that really wows you, as we see Zane Johnson with another big shot, but he just does so many things well that it's hard to not notice him on the court.
Di Loretto tries to pass it last second. It's no good. And here comes Amarty. Slams it. Oh, my apologies. That's Flanard Whitfield. 2 minutes to go in the second. Stewart. Jennings keeps it. Off to Phillips. To Stewart. And then to John Hart in the corner. Di Loretto can't get the rebound. This is Amarty. Gets the ball back. Takes a three-pointer. It's good. He's nearly 50% from that range, too.
Again, Amarty, probably the deadliest three-point shooter. If he makes it to All-Star Weekend, I'm putting a ton of money on him winning the three-point contest.
Stewart to John Hart. For three. It won't go. Marvin Phillips with a big rebound. Stewart. Minute 16 on the clock. Fresh shot clock because we got 15 seconds to go there. Stewart weaves through into Di Loretto in the corner. Can't get it to go. Minute to go. Johnson. This is Whitfield down low. He gets two.
Clark Whitfield, he's been in this league 2 years now, and every single game I've seen him in, he's just really solid. He knows what he's doing as a big. He's 6'7", he's got good size and speed. Just a very solid all-around player.
Stewart up against Smith. Now to Jennings. It's good there from Brent Jennings. So they get 54-48. 23 seconds to go in the quarter. Amarty for three, misses. Shot clock has now expired. 15 seconds left in the quarter. Smith. Smith keeps possession. 5 seconds left. It goes. And Stewart caught napping, so that'll do it for the first half. Brampton down 54-50. The A's had a good quarter, but London ultimately ahead at the halftime interval. Marty Thompson and now Bill Evans. Bill, how you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
How are the quarter stats? Do we are things looking good based on quarter scoring?
Yeah, I think so.
I just say that because I give him those stats before the game.
Of course, as always. you always supply as well. I guess your thoughts.
Well, let's just talk about the game in general. It's a nice, quick game. Everybody's running fast. Everybody's getting in. I think London's pretty lucky that Little and Mills aren't suspended. I'm liking the way Jennings is playing. Enrico gets on the floor. Zane gets on the floor. All kinds of good stuff going. And 54-50, lots of offense. I thought early on when London was down by 10, they were in real trouble. Then they were up by 10, and now it's 4. I don't think we're going to know how this game turns out until very, very late in the fourth quarter.
Brampton, a couple different transition scores. I guess, how do you stop them?
Yeah, Brampton transitioned well. London transitioned well. Now, when a team is is really good at transition, you got to pick your spots when you hit the offensive backboard. You know, I know it's like, you got to crash your offensive boards, yada yada, and you can get more possessions. But if the other team is really good in transition, you're giving up your half-court defense. So you sort of got your choice. You can crash the boards and try to get the ball there, but if it gets out, you got nobody back. If you drop back to center, sort of send one guy in for a rebound. If he gets it, great. If he doesn't, well, your defense is set. And that's how you can slow down a team that's running real fast.
One of the guys that's deadly in transition, Zane Johnson. I guess how does London defend them, and how have they done it so far in the first half?
Well, I think they've done it. I don't think they've given him any special treatment. He was covered by Springer Williams for a while, and I think Chris even mentioned so. I jumped up and down when that happened. He was covered by Jennings. He was, he was just another guy on the other team. And initially, I thought that Zane is going to come in and light it up. I mean, you leave the team, you come back, this is where you're shooting. I mean, if you're the other team's coach and he's not hurt, I'd be trying because, the fans will love it and it'll be disappointing for the other team. But he's just sort of playing not much. But on the premise that he would play a lot, because that's what I prepared for, I would have used Springer Williams on him. And I think it's exclusively when Zane comes off the bench, Springer Williams goes off the bench. And even more so now that Zane's not getting tons and tons of floor time. It's going to give Springer Williams a chance to play defense. Work on his defense. It's going to give him lots of floor time where he's out on the floor. He'll get the odd accidental bucket like he got under the thing, and there's no pressure on him to do anything outside of just play defense. And his experience will build on the floor and his familiarity with the rest of the players. I think it's a great situation.
Defensive theory, I guess, when it comes to London.
Yeah, I was thinking about this last night, and there's kind of like if you guys are watching the game and you're thinking about how you're going to coach your kids, your teenagers when they're playing on your team. There's basically 2 ways to play defense. You can play defense in the other end, or you can play defense in your own end. Well, what I mean by that is the standard, when everybody thinks of defense, I call that a passive reactive defense. What you're trying to do is stop the other team from doing what they want to do. I always preferred the teams I coached, and when I watch, I like to see an active, focused defense. And by that, I mean the defense should be deciding what they're going to let the offense do. An example of that is if you've got a really bad passer, don't cover him. Leave him alone. Let them get the ball to him, then gang him, because you got him at his weakness. If the guy's a really good shooter, don't let, if he likes shooting off the ball. But you decide who the other team's going to take the shot, where he's going to take the shot, basically.
Yeah. Brett Jennings leading the team with 11 points so far. Your thoughts on him?
I'm real happy with him. I saw him before the game. I looked at him. I said, and I didn't know that Little and Mills weren't suspended. And I just said, you're going to be really tired tonight. And he looked at me and he just laughed. I like him. He's always moving. He's not standing still. And he's getting points. He is quality rest for Little. And if today is any indication, he is quality rest for Little, and that's going to make the team a lot stronger coming down the stretch.
And another Lightning player, Horton, 6 points, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
Horton has now reached the short list of people I'm okay with wearing number 24 if they want to.
Of course. He's
great point guard. The last game in the second half, I like that there was a huddle at the top of the key, and he's the rookie. He's the new guy on the team, and he's still taking charge. He's telling them where he wants to go. When he comes down the floor, he's looking. He's got the best no-look passes of anybody on either team. Great. I'm real happy with him.
Another Lightning player, Enrico Di Loretto, got some minutes there.
He got some minutes, and good for Enrico. And I think it's important Enrico get minutes. He gets some floor confidence. And an example of that is he made a really nice drive. He made a really nice drive right under the basket, and then he dished.
Yeah.
And he could have just gone up. If he misses a shot, so what? If he makes a shot, maybe he gets a foul. There's a whole bunch of good things that can happen. When he dished out, the ball got stopped, and then he was caught way too deep in the offensive zone, and what I said earlier, transition, he wasn't, he's the two guy. He's got to be up top or somebody has to rotate, and they had a quick run at the end of that.
Finally, games have been a little chippy between these two teams, obviously. Your thoughts on how the refs have performed tonight?
I think the refs are doing not a bad job, and one thing I've noticed, it was going to come on as little bits because I was going to bring that bit in. Because after Emmanuel, I thought Emmanuel and Jonathan Mills, I was going to watch them very closely because they got a suspension. Maybe they got a suspension. I don't know what's happening with that, but they haven't said word one to any of the referees tonight. And then I started watching. Nobody's talking to the referees. And
Amarty did talk to the refs once when he got called for that travel. But you're right.
Generally speaking, yeah. And I think this is a win-win. I think if all the coaches tell their players, quit chirping the referees. You can say, okay, they're bad, or okay, they're great, or okay, they're acceptable, but just stop chirping the referees. If the referees stop getting chirped, they're going to be making calls what they see. Not making calls are going to be able to defend against somebody chirping them. Right. There you go.
Absolutely. Bill, as always, pleasure.
Great stuff.
Pleasure.
Next game, Windsor.
Windsor in February.
Yes.
We'll see you then.
Oh, boy, the database should be really big by then.
Thank you very much, Bill. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 7 minutes or so. You're watching London Lightning basketball here on YouTube. Hello and welcome back to Budweiser Gardens. Marty Thompson and Chris Croucher up in the booth here. London versus Brampton. Lightning have a 54-50 lead here at Budweiser Gardens. Big storyline coming into this game. Zane Johnson, Brent Jennings. They switched places last month. Brent Jennings now with London. Seems like he's the one who's really winning that battle between the two of them. 11 points so far tonight.
Well, it's been they haven't seen much of each other directly, so it hasn't been necessarily a duel, but pretty solid nights for their teams. Zane Johnson with 8 points. He's looked very dangerous. He's shot 60% from the floor too. But Brent Jennings has been a little spark plug for the Lightning team. They were down early in the first quarter by quite a bit, and Jennings was the guy who came in and really got things going. He's sitting at 11 points, which is so far the best for the Lightning and the second best in the entire game. He's had a very good go of it so far.
54-50. London with the lead just coming into the third quarter. And Brent Jennings leading the team with 11 points, and overall points just being shared around quite a bit from this London Lightning team. Lots of players getting involved. You've got Horton with 6, Stewart and Hart with 7, Phillips with 8, Lazar with 4, Jonathan Mills with 6 as well. So certainly more points on the way as we head into the third quarter.
Keep an eye on John Hart. Not only has he been hot shooting, he's got 7 points, but he's also got 3 steals already in only half a game of basketball here.
London get things started here. Hart with it. Phillips in front. Phillips takes it. Oh, and the pass to Lazar falls out of play. So Brampton get possession back, down by 4 as we start the third quarter. Scott moves it up here for Brampton. Johnson. Oh, blocked there by Marvin Phillips. Granado couldn't put it up. It's the inbound coming here for Brampton. Hakeem Scott to take it. Cavell Johnson to Scott. Getting swat out there by Stewart. Scott for 3. It's good.
Just a bit of a prayer there with the shot clock sitting at 1 second. Scott able to drain it.
1 point game. London have the lead. Stewart. Off to Little. Easy does it for Emmanuel Little. Scott. Granado in front. St. Johnson to his left. Granado plays the pick, gets the ball back, keeps possession, drains 2.
Granado's had some great hands down low so far tonight. He's having a great game too, 12 points. And with the Lightning shorthanded, or pardon me, not shorthanded, but lacking really, really big men, or at least big men that can match the size of Granado, Granado's got to keep being aggressive with the ball.
We'll see Lazar stepping out of bounds on that play at the key. Now with 10:40 on the clock, Brampton with a chance to take the lead. Scott to Johnson. To Cavell Johnson, falls out of play. And it looks like it'll be Lightning ball here. My apologies, Brampton ball. Scott on the inbound, 10 seconds on the shot clock. St. Johnson for 3 over John Hart. It's no good. Lazar keeps possession off to Emmanuel Little. Lazar to Stewart. Back to Lazar. Call there. Call against Granado.
I think they're going to say Granado gave a bit of a push to Lazar there.
Now 10-13 left in the quarter. Stewart to Marvin Phillips, now to Lazar.
Little getting very physical with Scott down low.
And that's going to be a foul against Scott. He can't believe it.
It was a foul, but it was probably the least physical of the fouls I saw between that battle, just between Scott and Little alone there.
It's good. Make it 57-55. I'll try to keep you updated again on those two games happening out east today. Right now, the Island Storm down 118 to 111 to the Moncton Miracles. 22 seconds left there. In the other game, the Halifax Rainmen are up on the Mill Rats, 108 to 105. Just under 3 minutes to go in that one. And they're going to say that basket's going to count to Hakeem Scott. He's going to go to the line.
I don't know how they're counting that basket there. Refs being very friendly. They're going to talk about this a bit.
You've got Scott in there, Zane Johnson, and a bunch of players just sort of swarming in, listening to the refs have a chat, and they're going to go to the table to have a chat.
Going to talk with the coaches, make sure they each understand what's happening. Saying no basket.
So 10 minutes to go in the third. Hakeem Scott to inbound, 14 seconds in the shot clock. Scott still talking to the refs. Kind of funny, we talked about that at halftime with Bill, is that no one seems to be chirping the refs. Well, here we are 2 minutes into this third quarter and lots of yapping going on. Scott over Al Stewart. Big rebound by Marvin Phillips. Comes out of nowhere for that one. Little.
Has
Bonzazar.
Has heart still.
Ooh, and Emmanuel Little gets fouled. And that looks like it's going to go against Cavell Johnson.
I would have liked to
Johnson.
I would have liked to have seen Lazar go for an extra pass there. As they were coming down in transition, Stewart made that first pass to Lazar. If he had looked up and made a quick pass there, John Hart was wide open from three-point land.
First shot's good from Little. 9:45 on the clock. Second shot's good. 9:40 left in the third. London 60, Brampton 55. Scott. Cavell Johnson up against Marvin Phillips. Phillips with the rebound. Off to Emmanuel Little.
That spin-off when he's in the post really isn't Cavell's game. He can make better shots than that.
Phillips. Cavell Johnson with him. Phillips going to charge. Picks it up. No good. Granada with the rebound. Tosses it long. This is Hakeem Scott. Spins. Takes it up, and he's fouled. So he'll go to the free throw line.
Challenging shot. He lost his control of his body there right as he was about to let go of the ball. London bailed him out, though, with the foul.
So a third foul against John Hart, as we see Horton coming in to replace Hart. So Hakeem Scott at the line, averaging 11 points per game, 3 assists per game. Of course, that was before his hit with bronchitis last month. Sitting now at 7 assists. Three-point game. And with the Stewart to Phillips. Up against Cavell Johnson, goes through Granado as well. So a big stop here from Brampton. Zane Johnson for 3 to tie the game, misses. So Lazar off to Horton, switches it to Emmanuel Little. Little, shovel pass to Phillips. No basket. They're going to call traveling against Phillips.
I think that's actually a good call there by the ref. The fan's not very happy about it, but Phillips was so eager to bully his way to the rim there that he forgot to bounce the ball.
Scott. to Zane Johnson. Scott for three. No. Horton, bounce pass to Little. Slips underneath. Fires it back to Stewart. Great passing here from London. Stewart takes it up. Gets the and one.
Huge play by Stewart. Just such a veteran play. And I know I pretty much say that every time Stewart does anything on the court. But he's just such an intelligent player that his basketball IQ just pops whenever you watch him play.
So Al Stewart goes to the line. Leonard Whitfield coming into the game, replaces Granado. Meantime, London making a change. Mills comes in for Lazar. So 8:16 left in the third.
You know, both teams have been varying their offensive styles so much in this game that for both teams on the defensive end, it's almost been like you plug a hole in a dam and another one pops open. They just can't seem to consistently stop each other. Just some great coaching from both sides.
Scott. See Johnson keeping it there. Scott with it again. Bounce pass to Whitfield. 8 seconds on the shot clock. It's fired around. Kyle Johnson gets it back, puts it up for two.
Kyle Johnson continues his strong game there. Great fake to create the separation needed. He's got 15 points to lead all players in this game.
Three shot is good there from Horton. So make it 65-59. That's a massive block for London. Looks like that was Jennings. Make it 7.5 in this quarter.
Big momentum swing plays there, not only from the Horton three, but Jennings getting that stop. Both players having excellent games. Jennings may be the one who's having the better game on the stat sheet, but Horton, one of those guys, you don't necessarily see him on the stat sheet, but he means so much to this team when he's in the game.
Stewart with it. From Horton. No.
Total heat check. Total heat check.
Scott gives it off to Cavell Johnson. Saw that coming.
Huge slam from Cavell Johnson. Speaking of guys we could see at the All-Star weekend coming up, I'd love to see Cavell in a dunk contest. I think he could pull some stuff off.
Horton. Oh, finds Mills. Great pass and great play. Tipped there by Whitfield. Goaltending. So that point's going to count for Marvin Phillips. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Little comes into the game, replaces Al Stewart. Scott with it. Leonard Whitfield in front. This is Kyle Johnson. Off to Cavell Johnson. Out of Whitfield. Zane Johnson for three. Yes.
Just
great shot from Zane
what
Johnson.
A shot. Zane Johnson just so good at shooting the three ball. And it's one of those skills that this team really covets. Brampton was looking to shoot more threes than any team in NBL history at the start of the year.
Jennings for three. Misses. Big rebound here from Little. Off to Horton for three. No good. Phillips with another big offensive rebound. He can't get the putback, but he'll be fouled.
Phillips trying so hard aggressively, trying to get a bucket there. Won't fall for him, but you gotta love when Phillips is engaged in that post game. Sometimes we can see him drift out to the three-point line, and he sort of falls in love with his shot. When you have him engaged in the post, not only does it make his perimeter game better because it frees him up to go and do that, but it also provides an element that the Lightning don't really have from anyone other than Mills on the roster, which is that guy who's just a beast down low.
So Phillips at the line, 68-64, 6:14 left in this quarter. Brampton making a change here. It looks like we're going to see Edmondson coming back into the game. Replaces Kyle Johnson. Scott. Moves around Zane Johnson. Corner shot from Edmondson, no good. Little. To Phillips and now to Mills. Got Johnson up against him. Fires it. This is Horton. No good. Gets his own rebound. Takes it up. Blocked there by Cavell Johnson. Scott on the run. Gives it off to Edmondson. Block. Brent Jennings.
Brent Jennings has just been a spark plug in this game so far for the London Lightning. Not only is he leading the team in points with 11, but he's also just provided a dynamic influence. And the biggest thing, and it's a thing he's had troubles with in the past, is that he's stayed out of foul trouble. Only has 1 on the game.
Another quick little check from the games happening elsewhere. The Moncton Miracles beat the Island Storm 120 to 111. So again, Moncton winners on the island there, and they're the first team to beat the Storm at home since December 6th. Meantime, the other games going on, the Rainmen have a 118 to 112 lead on the Mill Rats. Try to keep you updated. Just 9 seconds left in that one.
You know, the London Lightning, they've talked about how much they love to score in transition. One of the stats tonight, we've seen it pretty even across the board, but one of the stats where Lightning stand out, and it shows how they love that transition game, is the points off of turnovers. The turnovers are about the same. It's 12 turnovers for the A's, 10 for the Lightning, but the Lightning have turned those turnovers into 17 points as opposed to the 7 that the Brampton A's have done. That's why the Lightning are able to keep up in this game. Shooting numbers are almost identical, although Brampton might want to start making some free throws, shooting only 66% so far.
69 to 64, London with the lead here at Budweiser Gardens. Lightning looking to go up to a record of 13-8. Meantime, the Brampton A's looking to improve on their 11-10 record. Keep in mind, these two teams will meet twice next weekend. So at Brampton on Friday, my apologies, the one time. They'll be at Brampton on Friday is London's next game. Meantime, the A's will host the Island Storm on Thursday, and then they will host the London Lightning on Friday. 5.5 left in the third. The A's getting set here. Inbound coming from Scott. Long, Zane Johnson. Gives it off to Edmondson in the corner from distance, and it's good.
Very important three-pointer, too. The score is now 69-67, and it's one of those ones that Brampton slowly has been crawling back with.
Mills up against Whitfield. This is Little. Spins off Zane Johnson. Blocked there by Cavell Johnson. Scott keeps possession, and they're going to say too rough on Scott again. Oh no, my apologies. That's going to go against London. Ed Horton. He's going to get the foul. Meantime, Brampton making 2 changes right now as we see Cavell Johnson coming off, and looks like Akeem Scott is coming off as well. Smith is coming into the game, and it also looks like Ellis is also coming into the game here for Brampton. Ellis gets the ball. Zane Johnson to Edmondson. Cuts through. Oh, wow, what a play. As we see it finished there by Whitfield.
Horton took quite the spill into the stanchion there. That looked like it hurt.
Phillips up against Whitfield. Is possessed. Now here comes Brampton again on the transition. Edmondson takes it to the corner. Tosses it long to Johnson. Game is tied at 69 apiece. Traveling. What a time to take a traveling call.
Got a little bit too excited as soon as he got the ball there. One of the things I'm starting to notice is Bill was talking about how Clinton Springer-Williams is the guy he would have cover Zane Johnson. It looks like Brent Jennings is taking that role. Lightning came out with a sort of different look on defense, but no matter what, Jennings was on Zane Johnson there. London, of course, knows how dangerous Zane can be if given any amount of time from behind the three-point line.
So that's a foul against Edmondson. Meanwhile, London looking to make a change as we see Emmanuel Little coming out and John Hart coming in. Hart will inbound the ball here. Tom Brampton also looking at making a change as we see Bryson Johnson come in to replace Zane Johnson. Hart keeps possession. That's going to be a foul on Edmondson. So Brampton now at 7 fouls, London with just 2. So this will be big 2 shots here from John Hart. Again, the game tied 69 all, 4:17 left in the third.
If you're Coach Magley, you can't be happy with the discipline your team has shown so far. Especially in this quarter, London actually had more fouls than Brampton going in by quite a large margin in terms of team fouls at 13 apiece overall for the game now, but 7-3 in this quarter alone.
Brampton on the inbound. Ellis taking it back. Bernard has it there. It's going to be a foul against Jonathan Mills. So the 4th foul against London this quarter, 4 minutes to go in the third. So 14 seconds on the shot clock. Brampton try again. This is Smith. Picks it up, and it's good for 2 from Edmondson. Horton to Hart to Phillips. Up against Whitfield. Great play by Marvin Phillips.
Absolutely gorgeous. He's been getting Whitfield and Cavell Johnson with that spin move all game long. Hasn't been able to convert. You have to know that was frustrating Phillips.
Whoa, nice shot there by Ellis.
Ellis with a huge answer 3, just what the Brampton A's needed as they finally take a lead, 74-73.
Brampton's first lead since the very end of the first quarter. Another foul call. And it's going to go against London and Jonathan Mills. So 5 fouls for the London Lightning now, 7 for the Brampton A's. A's obviously over the limit. Smith keeps possession. Off to Edmondson. Now to Ellis. And they're going to call a foul. Looks like it'll be against Emmanuel Little. So another foul for the London Lightning. They're now up to 6 fouls. About 4 in rapid succession here in the last couple minutes or so. Edmondson gets the ball back on a 3. It's no good. Phillips, quick inbound off to Emmanuel Little. And there's the call. It's going to go against Whitfield. Foul.
Looks like Little just jammed his finger a bit on that play.
Whitfield's 3rd foul. As we'll see Emmanuel Little going to the line here for 2. Brampton with that 1-point lead. Again, their first lead since just the very end of the first quarter. Shot's no good from Little. Another big crowd here at Budweiser Gardens. The upper deck once again open. Emmanuel Little good on his 2nd shot. 74 apiece. Under 3 minutes to go in the third. Into the corner, Ellis for 3, and it is good.
Not good for the London Lightning. Brampton capable of putting up points incredibly quickly. They need an answer here. That's
Jennings.
not it.
Yeah, Jennings misses it there as we see Whitfield tossing it up, and a foul. John Hart. Good foul to take maybe. I mean, Brampton were going in 2-0 at that point.
Well, it does sort of slow things down. There's never really a foul in that situation that you're perfectly happy with, but it slows the pace down. It's not an easy bucket. Lightning had one, or pardon me, I thought they had one to give. My bad. They do not. Whitfield's going to take a shot here. Whitfield's not exactly the greatest free throw shooter, so could be worse. As he splashes it, of course.
Drains the first shot. Brampton once again take the lead, 78-74. Thanks to that big three-pointer from Ellis. They now have a 5-point lead. Clinton Springer-Williams coming into the game to replace John Hart. Interesting choice there from Carlos Knox. Likely to play some defense there, Springer-Williams. Little can't get around Ellis. You see just stepping over Ellis eventually. Fires it off to Phillips. Backs in, good for two.
Phillips, again, when he's engaged in that down-low game, is arguably the best player in the NBL. He's had a fantastic game. He was shooting a bit too much early, but now that he's playing that interior game, he's been far better.
Springer-Williams down low, fires it. No. It falls out off of Brampton, though. So London will get it back. Darnell Lazar preparing to come in to replace Marvin Phillips. Oh, my apologies. It came out off of London. So Brampton get possession. My apologies on that one. It's going to be a foul against Horton. So another foul in this quarter. It continues.
I didn't really have a lot to say about the refereeing in the first half, but some of these calls, a little gentle. Maybe they just don't want things to erupt like we have seen in previous games.
So you see Smith draining that first one. Yeah, well, I mean, especially that last game.
Well, it's not like anyone's throwing uppercuts or anything.
It's true. You'd have to think the refs had a special talking to before today's game just to make sure everything was good, especially with players like with Little and Mills in the lineup, as we see Ellis taking it up. And they're going to say no basket there. It's going to be a foul against Brampton.
Brent Jennings took that charge. Again, great defense, great awareness to know where he was on the floor. He was awfully close to the line below the basket.
So we see London on the inbound here. 1:47 on the clock. Al Stewart, Springer-Williams. Lazar to his left. Takes it up easy for Darnell Lazar. 80-78, minute and a half. Brampton answer back.
Quick answer. Brampton doing all the right things to keep this lead intact. And London can't be doing that.
Intercepted there by Whitfield. Oh, great passing as Smith goes to the line after training. Wow. 84-78.
I've said it before, but if you're going to have a guy, if you're going to foul on a guy with a wide open basket, he better not get the basket. I'm not saying you have to knock him out or anything, but that was too easy. You just give him a light little flick on the wrist, and now he gets to go to the line to make this a three-point play.
Smith putting together a good day as well. Great performance from him off the bench. So 85-78, Brampton with a massive lead here. Late in the third, minute 13 left in this quarter. Stewart to Lazar. Up against Whitfield here. Lazar can't keep possession. Smith on the interception. Fast break as we see Edmondson just trying to toss it up. He hits the back part there pretty hard. He gets up. He's good to go regardless. He'll take these two shots.
Glad to see he's okay. He landed really funny on his left leg there.
It's that behind the back layup. Seen a couple of those. Really hasn't worked so far today.
Apparently you need to look at the basket to have a better chance of making it.
It's got an update there. Halifax Raymond beat the Mill Rats 119-115. That's a final. That's the only game left to go this afternoon in NBLC action. Brampton coming into this one with a lengthy break, but they seemed up for this one, Chris. I mean, a good start in the first quarter. They jumped out to an early lead, and now on the home stretch, they're performing very well.
Well, they've just opened up a 9-point lead here after being down for the majority of this game. Again, both teams had a little bit of tired legs to sort of shake off. They've been well rested. They had London a 7-day break and Brampton a 10-day break, and it's really hard for a coach to sort of keep them sharp and get them going. In terms of coming into the game, and we've seen Brampton sort of need to shake it off a bit because you have so long without an actual competitive game. You can kind of lose your edge there. London came out strong, but Brampton, excellent job of starting to find that edge back now.
21 seconds left in the quarter. Clinton Springer-Williams takes it up, can't get another one. It's now 13 seconds to go. Shot clock has expired. Have Smith with possession. Off to Whitfield. For three, it's no good from Brampton, so that'll be how this ends. 87-80, Brampton with the lead. Marty Thompson, Chris Croucher in the booth here. Chris, what happened in that third quarter? I guess that was different from the second that has catapulted Brampton in the position they're in now.
Brampton made shots. They're struggling a little bit, especially from the three-point line. They really weren't making as many shots as we're used to seeing from them. And even though if you look at shot for shot, it was about equal, you have to think about where those shots were taken. A lot of three-pointers taken by the A's, and just as quickly as we were talking about them being down in the game, they've now opened up the 7-point lead. Their shooting average from the three-point line was down around like the 12% mark for most of this game, and now they've jumped all the way up to 40% nearly from the three-point line. They've also started making some more free throws, but the one that I would not have expected coming in is during that last little stretch, the second half of the third quarter there. In a game where things have been pretty even, the Brampton A's jumped way in front in rebounds in terms of having guys like Cavell, who we didn't see much during that last stretch of the third quarter, and Granado, we didn't really see much. They started hauling in rebounds, and that's their guard play. That was excellent there. And their assists, their passing, excellent too. Right now it's 24-15 for the A's in the assist game. They've got things clicking right now. London, they're not completely out of this by any means at all. 7-point lead in a league like the NBL is not strong enough at all. So the Brampton A's still have to keep shooting if they want to win. And London, just watch that three ball. They've had some guys, their usual perimeter defenders such as Clinton Springer-Williams and Brent Jennings have both been pretty solid. I would keep Jennings in there because of how excellent he's been guarding the three ball. Look for Jennings to be playing a lot during this fourth quarter.
London relying a lot more on the two ball than Brampton, as we see a good chunk of Brampton's points, just about a third coming from beyond the arc. Meanwhile, London just about well past the majority of their points have been coming from inside the arc. I'd say pretty well near 60% of them. Fourth quarter coming up, 87-80. Brampton have the lead. They have the ball here at Budweiser Gardens. They're in red. London is in white. Fourth quarter basketball. Zane Johnson. Scott. With a hand in his face, Scott dishes it back here. This is Granado to Scott again. 4 seconds on the shot clock, and
John Hart giving Coach Maggs.
I didn't really know what to say there. I was kind of lost.
That's
for words.
sportsmanship right there. Valentine's Day around the corner. You know, maybe some early feelings coming out from John Hart.
Cavell Johnson gets the ball, but it's going to be a foul against Emmanuel Little. So with 3 seconds on the shot clock, a foul against London. Brampton get another try. 14 seconds on the clock now. Zane Johnson can't keep it in. So London get possession here.
That ref knew exactly what he was doing as soon as Zane was going for that ball. He had his eye dead on the line. And you could even see a little bit from up here, Zane's left side of the sole just touching the line a bit. Good call by the ref.
Stewart. Little. John Hart with it. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Hart fires it. He misses. Granado with it. And off to Kyle Johnson. Into the corner, St. Johnson, Granado, Scott. To Kyle Johnson, 4-2, it's good.
Kyle Johnson quietly having a very effective game for the Brampton A's. I believe he's the leading scorer for their team. Yeah, he is. He's the leading scorer in the game right now with 17 points.
Emmanuel Little cuts around, goes to the hoop, and it goes for him.
His prayer is answered, just chucks it at the top of the backboard, see what happens. You almost use a hockey adage there by saying throw it at the net, you never know what'll happen. Works out for Emmanuel Little there.
So 89-82. Emmanuel Little could make it a 3-point play for London. Marvin Phillips comes in. Jennings comes out. One shot coming up from Emmanuel Little. He misses it. Marvin Phillips eventually gets the rebound. Tries the fade. Low percentage shot there. Heavily contested. Kyle Johnson. To Scott. Now to Cavell Johnson. Scott gets it back for three. Kyle Johnson misses. Granado gets the rebound, but there's a foul. Looks like it'll be.
I think it's going to be over the back on Granado. There was a lot of fighting going on between Mills and Granado, though. Oh, Mills got it.
So it's against Mills. Fourth foul for Jonathan Mills. A's get it back. Fresh shot clock, 10:26 left in the game. Granado up against Mills again. It's a long shot from Scott. Scott gets it back from Cavell Johnson.
Easiest rebound of Cavell's life there.
Brampton are in no rush. They're up in this game as you see Cavell Johnson go into the ground hard. And there'll be a foul called obviously on this play. 89-82, 10 minutes left in the fourth. So Akeem Scott goes back to the line here for Brampton. A's have shot 73% from the line here tonight. Scott a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. So foul goes to Marvin Phillips, his first foul of the game. Scott drains it, make it 91-82. Mills off to Phillips, waits, can't get the behind the back to go. Phillips again with it, battling, can't handle Granado. That's John Hart for three. Stewart with it, cuts through. Gives it to Hart. Intercepted there by Scott. He tosses it ahead. And that's no basket, but Scott will still go to the line.
Just some bad luck on the offensive end for the London Lightning there. This game getting a little bit out of their hands. 91-82, not a terrible lead, but London's going to want to start getting some answers on the board.
Scott having a great game. 9 rebounds, 7 points. Just 20 minutes of work from him.
It's 9 assists.
Sorry, 9 assists. Sorry. 9 assists.
Huge for a point guard. In this league, we don't usually see assist numbers get that high.
Having trouble scoring the points, so has gone 1 for 6 from the field, we should mention as well. 9:32 left in the game. Big crowd here at Budweiser Gardens booing down here on Akeem Scott. He drains it. Hart tosses it up. In and out. Unlucky here from London. They're still battling. Hart gets possession back. To Little. Cuts around Granado. Foul.
Just a straight up push there by Granado. It looks like okay, they're going to say it was the push. I thought one of the refs was calling out of bounds there. I was going to say, Little didn't really have much control on that one. It's kind of interesting to see these two teams, two of the highest scoring offenses in the NBL, and we're sitting at only a 92-82 score here with 10 minutes left in the game. Usually these teams are flirting with 130 points by the end of the game. Don't think they're going to make it there tonight.
You know, Brampton, a very three-point heavy team. I mean, they like to take a lot of shots, so naturally they put up a lot. As you see Emmanuel Little draining a three-pointer.
A shot we're not used to Emmanuel Little taking. Very rarely actually goes for that three-point shot. In fact, he's only tried 14 of them before tonight.
Scott to Zane Johnson in the corner. Can't get the answer back three. And London get possession back, 92-85.
It's interesting, one of the things Bill was mentioning as well about Zane Johnson is when he's on the right side of the court, his shot doesn't seem to have it. Zane, a guy who likes to be kept to his left side, he actually prefers it. Wasn't able to get that shot there, even though he was on the wrong side as far as what he likes.
Lazar. That's Little with it. And that'll fall out off of Zane Johnson, so London get possession back. 8:29 left in the game.
I don't know why Coach Maggs has Johnson covering Little. Little, a much more physical player. I don't think Zane's fit to be the three to play in the three spot.
Hart fades. It goes. Good stuff from John Hart. 92-87. Scott, it's the ball from Zane Johnson. Cavell Johnson in front of Scott now. Keem Scott keeps possession. Now to Granado. It's no good. Zane Johnson can't tip it in. That's Kyle Johnson. Eventually Cavell Johnson gets it.
I think every Johnson on the court just about touched that one.
I
Finally,
mean,
Cavell able to finish it though.
See the air ball there from Marvin Phillips. I don't like having to say Johnson a lot. It's not that much fun. Kyle Johnson with it. Cuts in for an easy two. No. Marvin Phillips collects. 7:40 left in the fourth quarter. 94-87 is the score. Brampton ahead. Lazar. They're going to call a foul here. Looks like it's going to go against Kyle Johnson and the Brampton A's. A's making a pair of changes. Leonard Whitfield coming in, and also looks like Edmondson is coming in as well. Edmondson, 25-year-old, averaging around 13 points per game from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Same hometown as former NBA shooting guard Greg Buckner, current assistant coach in the NBA as well. So Lazar at the line. His Lightning are down 94-87, 7:28 on the clock. And that's going to be a foul. So Lazar goes right back to where he was. Going to be a lane violation. Second shot from Lazar is good. Or third, I should say. Brampton making some changes. Kyle Johnson coming out of the game. Bryson Johnson coming in. Edmondson. Off to Scott. And the ball falls out of play. Brampton will inbound. 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Quick hands there from John Hart. He's actually got 4 steals tonight already. Almost made it 5 right there.
Scott. Off to Cavell Johnson. And the ball's loose. Edmondson collects. Chipped up there from Little. Marvin Phillips. Wow.
I'm surprised he was able to get that off the bounce. That ball dangerously close to being thrown too far ahead. Phillips with the athletic play to get the ball and bring it back around the rim and finish that layup.
4-point difference now. Scott finds Cavell Johnson. He backs into John Hart. Misses. Marvin Phillip moves it up. London with another crucial stop. Can they score? Darnell.
Huge play there. Momentum's clearly swinging in London's in London's favor. Horton getting the crowd pumped right now, throwing his arms up in the air. This crowd's into it.
Here comes Edmondson. No calls. We see Whitfield taking it up. Cavell Johnson can't get it to go. It's a 2-point game, and London have the ball again. Emmanuel Little chips it out. This is Marvin Phillips for 3. Wow. Timeout Brampton. London with a 95-94 lead.
Just listen to that crowd. Huge shot from Marvin Phillips. In big moments, you need your big players to come up big, and that is exactly what Marvin Phillips has done right now for the London Lightning, whether it's the 3-point shot right there that we saw to give the Lightning this lead, or that smart second pass to Lazar, the basket before that, or even before that, making that athletic play when the ball looked like it was thrown a little bit too far ahead. Marvin Phillips has really shown up in a big way here for the London Lightning.
So lots to.
They're running around like chickens with their head cut off a bit. They were a little too scattered defensively. Right now what Coach Magley is saying is settle down, believe in our system, believe that we know what we're going to do out here, and go out there and just stay the norm. You don't need to make any over-the-top plays. You don't need to force anything. Just keep going the way you were going. That's how you got your lead. And if you want to get it back, that's how you're going to do it.
Just another 15 seconds to go left in this timeout called by David Magley, and he's already said his word. The Brampton Ace player is just already on the court, probably rearing to go. London take a 95-94 lead here. Just about 6 minutes left in this fourth quarter. So Flenard Whitfield will inbound here for Brampton. Again, down by 1. 6 minutes to go. Crowds come alive. Rightfully so. Exciting fourth quarter. Game's been back and forth all game. We're not done yet. Edmondson gives it off. This is Ellis with it. He's a big guy. He can shoot threes. Same can Edmondson. Chips it off. Whitfield. He's going to be fouled, so that's not going to count.
Nifty pass by Edmondson to find Whitfield there, and I like that they didn't do anything crazy. Just get it down low, get a layup. It's only a 1-point game. I know there's a lot of momentum, and the crowd here can be so loud that it's intimidating. So that's a very good first possession for the A's. If they can get these two here, that's just a start, and it sort of calms down the crowd. And even taking foul shots, it brings the level down. It slows the game down. It kind of takes the crowd out of it a bit.
So for Whitfield taking this one shot, it's good. So Brampton take a 96-95 lead. And they cut back into it. So Brent Jennings comes back in, replaces Darnell Lazar.
Jennings, a key player during the first half, hasn't really been seen much at all in the second.
London with possession. Hart with it. To Jennings. Into the corner to Horton. Back to Jennings. Ellis up against him. 5 seconds of the shot clock. And they're going to call a foul against Ellis. That'll be the fourth foul for Brampton. 5 for London so far this quarter. Inbound set here for London. Jennings bounces off of Ellis, and it won't go. Brampton have a chance to add to their 1-point lead. Edmondson for 3. No good. And tipped out there by Whitfield. No, they're going to say it was tipped out off of London.
That shot there by Edmondson is what I was saying by don't go out there and try to do anything over the top. That was a shot he did not need to take. It wasn't terribly open, and he didn't have full control of his body as he was going up. That was a miss waiting to happen.
Whitfield!
Like huge play by Flenard Whitfield. He's been a beast down low all game, and they're just now starting to go to him, almost like a secret weapon for the Brampton A's there. That'll make it 12 points for him tonight.
98-95. Whitfield goes to the line for one extra shot with 5 minutes to go. It's good. So Brampton 99, Lightning 95. Horton. We've seen him spark this London Lightning offense once or twice. We'll see if he can do it. Hart's another guy. He can shoot from pretty much anywhere. We got Jennings down low. Hart for three. Nice take there by Little. He's going to be fouled. Looks like that one's going to go against Smith on Brampton.
Yeah, just sort of decked Little on the top of the head when Little was going for that shot.
Looks like we're in for a long fourth quarter as 6 fouls for the London Lightning, 5 for the Brampton A's so far in this quarter. First one's nose. It's no good there from Emmanuel Little. .445 left in this quarter. No good. Taken by Brampton. Edmonton, he's quick. Gives it off into the corner. And that's a great move from Smith. And that's going to be a timeout by the London Lightning.
Well, this is exactly what Coach Magley wanted the A's to do coming out of that A's timeout earlier, was just to stay the course. They didn't do anything crazy other than that one shot, but they just worked it inside, got high efficiency, simple shots, made it work. It was a great job by the Brampton A's. London, those shots are tough to defend. London just has to make sure they make their own right now. The A's can get so many points that if you're London, it's about keeping up. It's only 6 points. There's plenty of time left in this game. No reason to panic here. I would say the same thing to London that I was saying to the A's earlier. You're seeing the opposing team go on a run. Just do what got you to where you are.
It's brought the Brampton A's to now over the century mark for this game, 101-95. The A's once again have the lead, and this game has gone back and forth, and it hasn't even been like a really close back and forth. Like London had a 14-point lead. Brampton had a 9-point lead. Then they had a 10-point lead. I mean, it's been fluctuating quite a bit in terms of the scoring. And here we are in the fourth quarter, Brampton with another substantial lead. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. 4 minutes, 36 seconds left.
Just to show you how up and down this game's been, the scoring development chart there's literally only 3 big humps. It goes one way, Brampton's at the start of the game, all the way back up to the top for London, and then all the way back down Brampton's side. It's pretty much been defined by 3 big momentum swings. London's going to have to try and get another of their own here if they want to win this game.
Horton gets it started here for the Lightning. He's up against Smith. Bounce pass to Little. Little takes it, traveling. Refs very active with that call today as Brampton get possession back 101-95. Ellis. Edmondson. This is Smith. Lots of passing here again from Brampton. They got to be quick. 6 seconds on the shot clock, 4 minutes to go on the game clock. Edmondson, as the shot clock expires, gets the shot off. It's no good. Ellis takes it. Offensive rebound, drains the 2.
London has to get that rebound there as they make a quick pass up the court to Jennings. Ooh.
Jennings with a circus shot, and it's no good. But he was fouled. So London tried to redeem themselves at the foul line once again. It's going to be a foul against Bryson Johnson. Now both teams have 6 fouls in this game. Again, 3:50 left in the quarter. Big chance here for London. Missed by Brent Jennings. 3:50 left. Brent Jennings gets the second one.
Uncharacteristic from Jennings. The first one missing, the second one just barely going in. He's an 87% free throw shooter this year.
Oh, intercepted there by Horton. Got John Hart behind him. Horton tosses it up. Finished there by Jennings.
Huge play, Brent Jennings. He's been such a spark plug on this team, just providing energy right when they need it. He's in this game because Coach Knox wants him to bring that energy and see if he can create another momentum swing, just as he did around the end of the first quarter.
Ellis. Now to Smith. Cuts around Hart. Foul by John Hart.
I'm okay with that foul. That would have been a clear path to 2 points for the Brampton A's if Hart doesn't take that foul.
Zane Johnson getting set to come on here for Brampton. Also looks like Jonathan Mills is coming in for London. Mills will replace Brent Jennings, and the crowd actually booing to that call. And Brampton also making the change. It looks like Ellis has come out.
Surprised Hart's not the one coming out of the game. He's sitting at 5 fouls now.
The 5 on the court for London right now. Hart, Little. You've got Mills, Phillips, and then also Horton. Smith makes the second shot. 104-98. Brampton keep the lead. 3 minutes to go. Hart to Phillips for 3. No. St. Johnson collects.
That goes against staying the course. They just have to make sure they take high efficiency shots right now.
Ellis moves it up. This gets tipped around. Collected here from London. Horton shifts it along. Hart can't keep it. So Brampton get possession.
Big mistake from Hart there. Basket really could have been used there. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. 104-98 for the Brampton A's.
Brent Jennings comes in and Jonathan Mills comes right back out. So Ellis moves it up. 2.5 to go. Ellis, this is Edmondson with an amazing play. So 106-98. Brampton adding to the lead. Little comes in, puts up the 2. And another stop by Brampton. This is Edmondson up against Hart, and another foul against John Hart.
That's going to be it for Hart, I believe.
I think you are correct in that. That'd be, that's his 5th foul. So still got some room yet, but you're right. I mean, having John Hart out there, he's quick enough to catch up to those guys, but just one more foul he can have in the next 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
It would also create a bit of a hole in the Lightning lineup right now. The A's have a bunch of speedy guards out there. Losing any of the 3 they have in Stewart, Horton, and Hart would be a pretty big loss. It would open up at least one of those 3 guards to get some breathing space.
Crowd getting loud here as the A's hit a 10-point lead, 108-98. A timeout by the London Lightning. Now, what is Carlos Knox saying to his team as they're now down by 10 with just over 2 minutes to go?
Second verse, same as the first. They didn't do what I would have been telling them in the first part of just stay the course, do what got you here. One of the things the Lightning got in love with, and I don't mean to, this is not a reflection on Marvin Phillips. I think he's an excellent player, but every so often he gets caught up in the moment. And some of those shots he took were the type of shots where if he had made them, gigantic momentum swings. And I understand why he took the chance on that, but again, if you miss it, then it just sort of sets your team back. They need to just stay in their zone. They need to keep their shots efficient, nothing crazy, nothing over the top. Just get your 2 points and keep going. There's still enough time. It's 10 points. They can do this. There's about 2 minutes left. Just get some 2-point baskets, see where you are at the minute mark.
Got another minute before the minute mark. 2 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Some people filing out a little early here at Budweiser Gardens, but it's still possible. 10-point differential. Brampton 108, London Lightning 98. Brampton coming off that 10-day rest. London last 4 of their 5 games. They had more, or 7. Let me restart that. 4 of their last 5 games, they've had at least 7 days rest in between or less. But that's a lot of time. I mean, they've played basically 1 game every weekend for the last month. As we see, the next month's going to get a little bit tougher for them. We'll get into that shortly. That's going to be a foul against Emmanuel Little. Oh, my apologies, Zane Johnson. So his 3rd foul. So big play here for London as it comes all the way back down to the other end. And it looks like Emmanuel Little will go to the line here for a big 2 shots.
Little only about a 66% free throw shooter from the line.
This one's good. 108 to 99. London a point away from the century. They won't get it yet. Edmonton slips on the floor. Smith to his left, 2-minute mark here. Edmonton just keeps possession. Clock winding down. 1:50 on the clock, now 10 seconds on the shot clock. Edmonton, couldn't be finished there by Whitfield. Now here comes London. Horton takes it up. Good for 2.
Again, smart buckets from the London Lightning there. We're looking at a 108-101 game. Minute 30 left. Let's go, boys.
Ellis. Loses it. Horton keeps it in. Long pass off to Phillips. Takes a 3. Clunks it. And there's finisher by Jennings.
Jennings bailing Phillips out. I don't know why he shot that 3. But Jennings doing an excellent job. And as I was saying, see where you are at the minute mark. Now it's only a 5-point game. London made a great run here. You might want to start thinking about fouling the Brampton A's now as you come out of this timeout. Again, only a 5-point game. And the A's have some great free throw shooters, but there are still some guys you can take advantage of in that lineup. Tyshawn Edmondson, only a 68% guy. So if you're the Brampton A's, you just want to make sure the ball stays in your shooter's hands and you protect that ball. No risky plays, just smart. For the London Lightning, I keep saying it, keep doing what you're doing. They've been making easy shots. They're not doing anything crazy. And aside from a couple of 3-pointers that I personally wouldn't take, most of their shots have been of the intelligent variety.
Well, here we go, coming right back into play. 5-point game. London cuts it down, and you mentioned that crucial minute mark. Well, minute and 9 seconds left in the game. 5-point differential between these two teams. Brampton on the inbound. London with a couple nice stops in a row. Maybe one more is in store. Scott tosses it long. There's Cavell Johnson. Scott gets it back from Ellis. Got Horton on Scott right now. Minute and 4 seconds. Tosses up to Cavell Johnson, and it's good for 2.
Absolutely crucial bucket from the Brampton A's. Cavell Johnson coming through clutch.
Horton chips it off. This is Marvin Phillips. Wow.
Whoa, what a dunk there by Marvin Phillips. I'm sorry if it took me a little to respond there. I was a little shaken up after the ground quaked from that dunk.
And they're traveling against Brampton. So with 46 seconds left, still have a 5-point differential. 2 massive plays from 2 massive parts of both these teams as you see Cavell Johnson turning that alley-oop, and then Marvin Phillips coming back with a massive slam. He has the ball right now. He takes a three. It's good! Wow!
I was mentioning earlier, when you take those threes, if you miss it, you got some egg on your face, but if you make it, we see what we see here, a huge momentum swing in London's favor. 2-point game with 35 seconds left.
110 to 108, and that looks like it's a foul against Emmanuel Little, perhaps. It will be. So Zane Johnson has a chance to put his Brampton A's ahead here by more than a one score.
Probably the first time this crowd's ever booed Zane.
They didn't even boo him when he came into the game here today. They cheered him on, in fact, to make it a 4-point differential with 34 seconds left. It's good. Timeout by the London Lightning. Carlos Knox brings his men in. They're now down by 4, 112 to 108.
Well, I like what the Brampton A's did coming out of there, getting the ball to Zane Johnson. So that for that foul shot, it was their best shooter taking it. Zane Johnson, of course, one of the best shooters in the league, and for free throws, he's a 94% shooter. If you're the Brampton A's right now, you have to stop Marvin Phillips. He's the guy that's tearing you up. If London's going to draw up a play for any of their guys who are currently on the court right now, it's probably going to be something for either Emmanuel Little or Brent Jennings, the way those two have played. Leaning towards Little as far as who I think is going to get the ball here. They're going to look to get him cutting to the rim and see if they can get it too. So if you're the Brampton A's, you don't necessarily need to watch out for a three-pointer. Stop them from getting the two right now.
112 to 108. Brampton with one quick little huddle. See London still talking it over with Coach Knox. The Brampton A's trying to get to 12-10 on the year, while London trying to hit a record of 13-8. Here we go. Al Stewart on the inbound for London. 34 seconds left. Fresh shot clock. London with the ball. Jennings has it. Ellis in front of him. Into the corner for three. Marvin Phillips airballs it. Zane Johnson collects, and he's going to be fouled by Horton.
London not happy with that call. If I were Coach Knox, I wouldn't be happy with that three. Again, Marvin Phillips tends to fall in love with it, and he loves to make that big momentum swing play, but unable to drain it there. Now Lightning go back down the floor, down 4, and with the best shooter on the A's taking the free throws.
Once again, London's hopes hang with a player who used to play for them this season. Johnson misses the first one.
Again, that's a 94% free throw shooter missing a shot there. Zane Johnson needs to come up big for his new team here.
Gets the second shot, so we'll make it 113 to 108. 26 seconds left. Still that 5-point differential. Phillips is going to shoot the three again. He's going to get that one. And so with 19 seconds to go, Ellis will inbound it. Oh, they're going to call a timeout. So David Bagley calls a timeout. And the Brampton A's. I mean, Marvin Phillips, you live and you die with it.
He almost killed him, but thank goodness Zane Johnson missed that one free throw there, as we now have a 2-point game. Marvin Phillips makes a big shot to keep this team in the game. Brampton A's, again, have to be looking to Zane Johnson as the guy they want to just... No one else on the A's should be touching the ball, quite frankly, if you're the Brampton A's. If you're the London Lightning now, becomes an interesting situation. You've seen Marvin make some big shots for you. Do you give it back to him, or do you try to switch it up a bit here?
Both teams taking lots of time to talk this over. Again, 2-point game. Not a whole lot of time left. 19 seconds left in this one here at Budweiser Gardens. looking ahead for London, we mentioned it, their February is going to be a big month for them. 10 games in 28 days. Only 2 of those are at home, and that includes 2 separate East Coast road trips. They take one somewhere in the middle. They come back to play a home game, and then they have to head right back out again. So you can guarantee there are going to be losses there. I'm sorry. Those teams out east are too good, for the London Lightning just to go out there and expect to win, especially with a incredibly condensed schedule that they're looking forward to here in February. All right, Brampton on the inbound. Ellis takes it, and he's fouled. So here we go. The A's go to the line. 18 seconds left. 113 to 111.
Ellis, one of the guys the Lightning have to be okay with sending to the line. Only a 68% free throw shooter. Not bad, but one of the lower numbers on the Brampton A's.
It makes both. It's a 2-possession game. Here we go. Gets the first one. Massive for the Brampton A's. 3-point lead. 114 to 111. 18 seconds left. Akeem Ellis at the line. Gets the second one. 4-point differential again. Intercepted by Zane Johnson, and he's fouled there by a little.
Just about the worst thing that could have happened there for the London Lightning was a turnover. Bit of a heartbreak here. Zane Johnson, again, one of the best free throw shooters in the league.
And lots of fans now turn to the door as the Brampton A's have all but sealed this win here at Budweiser Gardens. Johnson just barely gets that first shot to make it a 5-point game. Why not 6? Let's make it 117 to 111. The Brampton A's will move on to host the Island Storm on Thursdays. You see Brent Jennings getting 2 points on his former team. 9 seconds to go now. And there's the foul. That's going to go against Brent Jennings. Your thoughts on London's play today? It's been good, but obviously not good enough.
Well, the Brampton A's have been a very hot basketball team lately. This is not a bad loss at all. I think most impressive is we saw them play a little rough against Halifax and St. John. The way they've responded, they got that Mississauga game to put them on track, and even though they're losing here, London's on the right path, and they've sort of rediscovered their game here. I like what I'm seeing from the London Lightning as far as going forward, but the Brampton A's have just played an excellent game.
On the verge of 120 points, and talked a bit about that in the fourth quarter. It didn't look like they were going to get to that threshold, but sure enough, here we are at the end of the fourth. Scott makes it 119 to 113 for the A's. And that's a foul, so Al Stewart gets an and one play, perhaps too little too late. 3 seconds left.
Very unlikely from happening, but if the shot, foul quickly, A's miss 2, shoot a 3, it's plausible.
But don't get your hopes up. There you go. 3 seconds left.
Foul.
And they don't. So that is the end of the game. So London Lightning lose 119 to 106. Your final thoughts, Chris?
Well, it was a great game played by both teams there. Marvin Phillips made some absolutely nuts shots, especially at the end. They're really keeping the team in. He had 27 points on the game. One of the guys that impressed me most, though, was Brent Jennings, shooting 61% tonight and scoring 18 points, having one of the strongest games we've seen. That looks good for him in terms of how he plays for the London Lightning going forward.
We'll be back on Thursday, February 5th, when the Windsor Express come to town. Otherwise, London and Brampton meet again on Friday. So for Chris and everyone here at the behind the broadcast crew, my name is Marty Thompson. So the final score here at Budweiser Gardens. Brampton 119, London 116.